Welcome to Crushing 1L, a podcast about how in law school there is such a thing as free lunch. I'm Abi, a 1L at Penn Law, and my co-host Amina is a 1L at UCLA Law. Amina, first topic for today. I'd love to hear how the legal memo went from last week. Close the
Thank
loop
you
on
so
that,
much for
maybe?
asking.
Yeah. Feedback, how'd it
Yeah.
go?
So I did not in the end get double digit feedback, which is cool. I would have been cool either way, but I did get about 4 pages of feedback. And the reason why is because my writing advisor kind of went almost line by line and was like, here's what you did well, here's some things I would fix, whatever. But honestly, like in the end, I don't know if I should say this, but I'll say it. I genuinely had this moment where I was like, oh, like I'm not falling behind. I'm just like disorganized, which I've said this many times on this podcast that like my time management is like really it's really hurting me. But like I was like I understood this assignment. I hit the points of this assignment like like all the things that my writing advisor mentioned to me that she would tweak or like fix like it was like oh yes I had already seen that in this argument. I had already thought that when I submitted the paper. I just like one kind of ran out of time and two didn't like have the time to ask like what I should do with these issues that I had. So like, yeah. But I was on target. I submitted like my second draft now to my professor. I'm sure he'll have more feedback for me and I will, be all right. But yeah, all of that to say it went well. And we just got actually our second writing assignment assigned, so more on that later. But yeah.
Good, yeah, that's awesome. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but like more feedback is better, I think, right? You do want line by line feedback.
Yes. I mean, there's a point to overwhelm. Like, you can only intake so much, I think, but like, especially for these assignments, I mean, the point of them is that you don't know what you're doing. Like, you have no idea what the material is, like how this process works. And it's very formulaic writing legal memos. So it's like, you should anticipate that you'll be getting that feedback and welcome it and receive it in the spirit in which it's given. But yeah.
Dude, the formulaic part. I at some point for my memo, I turned it in and I emailed my writing advisor. I was like, dude, I'm so sorry. Like this is so bad. I'm so sorry you have to read this because I at one point I was like writing the same sentence every four sentences
Oh,
because you
interesting.
have to like restate. Well, it's like the way that we learn Koreac. Like you have to like restate your conclusion a bunch of times. So like your
Yeah.
conclusions in your umbrella and your conclusions in your mini umbrella and your conclusions in your
Yeah.
rule paragraph and your analysis. It's like your conclusion is just over and over and over again. And so every
Yeah.
few sentences, I was just restating the conclusion, and I was like, "This can't be right." I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I had a similar experience. I mean, I was working from like our professor gave us a sample, and so I was like mimicking a lot of the language in the sample, but like it's like one of those things where it's like you have to change you're saying the same thing, but you have to like use slightly different words every time you say it because otherwise you're just gonna be like repeating. I also had that experience. Yeah.
Yeah, my first draft what was like it wasn't written by a human, and my Littleton fellow, my writing advisor, was like, "Abi, like I get what you're trying to do. Like
Yeah.
you're sticking to like the structure that we are teaching you, but like
Yeah.
you have to write this like a human being too." And I was like,
Wow.
damn, that's really good advice. So I zoomed out and for my revisions I was like, okay, what am I actually I had like my draft and I had the sample on one side of my screen and I had an open
Hmm.
Word document, just a blank Word document on the other. I was like, okay,
Hmm.
how would I say this if I was like saying it to a person? Because I'm a human, this is going to a human. What's like
Yeah.
the normal human way to say this in real human words? And I wrote the sentence. I was like, that's better. That's better than what's over
Right.
here. And so like I started to like port over like normal natural language into the because I think I was like overwriting it. It sounded
Yeah.
too legal.
Yeah.
But yeah, God bless our writing advisors, dude. They have to read some garbage stuff and they have to like I will speak for myself. I won't speak for you. They read some garbage stuff and they have to like give us notes and fixes and man, what would we do without them?
Yeah. But I think too, it's like I want to highlight that you as well, like adapted to like that feedback and found a way to work with it that helped you, reach the goal of like having a more natural flow and like a more human approach in your memo, which I think is really good. Like, I mean, that's what you do, and that's how these things go, right? Like, you mess it up, not mess it up, but like you give it your best shot the first time, you get the feedback, and then like you adapt and you make changes and you learn. So good
Yeah,
job.
yeah. Thank you. How was your
Yeah.
revision process? How was the process for you for taking the feedback and then actually putting it in.
Yeah, it was interesting because I mean, like, not to be like that person, but like again, like I already had an awareness of what was missing and like where I was missing and how. I really just needed like kind of feedback on like how to incorporate the things that like for instance, like for my we have part of our legal memos is that we have to write a test to kind of like show how the court applies the logic
Yeah,
in the rule. Um and so for part of my test, like there was a piece that I had omitted that I felt when I was writing, I was like, this is important because like again, like I think we talked about this, like the test I'm writing, my client actually fails, even though I'm arguing for them to win. Um, so I knew that piece was missing, but I just didn't know how to incorporate it because it came from another case separate from the case that we were working on. I was like, I don't know how to, like this plays in. So
yeah.
like I ended up talking with my writing advisor. I'm like, I just don't know how. And she's like, you can just talk about it because it's part of the case. Like it's part of the court's reasoning, even though they didn't focus on it. I was like, oh, okay. So like from there, I literally just like restructured the test a little bit, like adjusted some of the arguments to more closely mirror like the thesis of my test. And then yeah, we'll see how it goes with my professor. But yeah, I think it was pretty smooth.
Awesome. Yeah. No, I think you're gonna crush it. It sounds like well, you also have like a lot of writing experience, I think, right? You did a lot of academic writing back in the day.
Oh, I guess so.
A
Yeah.
lot of papers, right? Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but like more than you, like more than is
Oh
normal.
yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah, dude. I was an engineering major. I
Oh.
can't even read. The law school is very difficult. Law school is very
No,
difficult.
yeah. I have written many papers.
Yeah.
Many
Yeah. Yeah.
papers. Yeah.
I built a soda machine for a project sophomore year. So
I've never done that.
yeah.
So,
So
different skill sets.
everybody has their different strengths. Yeah. Exactly.
Yes,
um.
but back to the plot of the movie.
Whoa. 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 Whoa.
That's
Whoa.
how the memo went.
Yeah. Well, and I think like it's really cool to be back in the academics. Like I haven't written academically in like almost 10 years, or more, more than 10 years in some ways. It's really cool, yeah, to be like back in school and like to be writing academically, even though legal writing's like weird compared
It
to academic
is.
writing.
It
But
is,
also
yeah.
academic writing is weird compared to normal writing. So, kind of cool to
Also
be
true.
back in the seat and having dedicated people who like their job is to like help you revise your writing. And I already feel like I'm miles better at writing than I was a month ago. So
Yeah,
that's all we can
definitely.
do.
Yeah.
That's all we can do. Speaking of a month ago,
Yeah.
we're like 4 to 6 weeks in. I think UCLA started a little bit sooner than us.
Yes.
This like we're getting to midterm season, dude. So second topic, segue. Second topic, midterm madness. That should be the title of the episode as well.
Midterm
It's
madness.
and I think you're close. You're like actually in midterms. I think I'm like a week or two away from midterms. So talk to us about midterms. How's it going? What does that mean? What do midterms mean? What do they look like in law school? Are you scared?
Yeah. No. Yeah, so midterms, wow. So, it's funny because when you're applying to law school, I'm sure like when you're talking to law schools, a lot of what you'll hear is like you only have one grade in law school, which is the final. So sneakily, like where do midterms fall into that? Like, it's true. I think like so for me, um a couple things about my midterms. One, they're all happening in the same week. So on Monday, I have contracts. On I ooh, let's see. On Thursday, so useful to have a calendar, by the way. But on Thursday, my Civ Pro midterm opens, and then on Friday, I have my torts midterm. And also on Friday, I have a research assignment due. So like that's all this week. This is why I'm like calling this midterm madness because it's like all at once, like high speed. Um, so contracts and Civ Pro are ungraded. So to the point of like you only get one grade in law school and that being your final, like that is still true. Like the point of these two midterms is to really give, feedback and to highlight like here's how you're understanding the material, here's how you're not, like kind of to show you where you're at in terms of like your academic progress over the course of this last 6 weeks.
Wait, your midterm is graded for torts?
And closed book. Hmm. And if you're, a longtime listener, you'll know that torts is the class in which I have to read the absolute most cases. The absolute most cases. So there's like s- there's so much material that can be covered on this midterm. It's going to be a wild ride. Um, but yeah, that's just kind of like a general idea of what I'm doing in this midterm week, and how midterms kind of function in law school. Do you have thoughts on that, Avi?
That's wild. It's wild that one of yours is graded. I
Yeah,
appreciate midterms being ungraded because that's how they were sold to
yeah,
us as well. These are checks on learning, right? We're
right.
we're we're 4 to 6 weeks in, so we're far enough in to where you could actually do a practice exam. So some of our TAs are essentially billing this as our first practice exam, and
Hmm.
it's a good cue. It's like the professor and the TA is giving us a cue of like, cool, like it's not too early to start practice exams. Here's your first one. It's gonna cover the stuff we've covered enough to be substantive, and it's ungraded because you learn by screwing it up.
Hmm.
um, so it's kind of wild that one of those is not one of those is graded, and you maybe don't learn by screwing it up. Maybe I don't know, maybe you do.
It's only 15%, but like still 15% is like it's not 0%. Yeah,
It's not 0%, and it's fifteen
it's not
percent and if
0%.
you like, I don't know the way that my practice problems have been going. So a few of my professors give us practice problems, and I feel like I'm following along, like I know what's going on, and then they give you a fact pattern, and I'm like the contract fact pattern. It's like blah 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 blah. Discuss breach of contract, and I'm like, isn't that every isn't that every contract fact pattern is
Well,
the discuss breach of contract?
right.
And so then I miss like some of the finer details. But
Yeah.
we're improving. So yeah, it's like there's a world where if I had to take a graded midterm next week, I would get like a 50% on it. So tough,
I
tough.
just can't even hear that because I do have to take a graded midterm and I cannot have a
No,
50% on
you're gonna
it.
do great. You're gonna do great. You're gonna get 100. But I would truly get a 50, I think.
Well, so that's so unfortunate, but like good for you that you don't have to do a graded midterm.
Good for me.
But part of so like of course part of then like getting into the midterms is now prepping for midterms, and we're now kind of in the space where we can begin outlining not just for midterms but also for finals, like
Yeah.
kind of starting to synthesize the information that we've learned because again, 6 weeks in we've learned a lot. Um I know that we're offering an outlining class. Did we do that already or is that upcoming?
We are. It should be on the docket. I don't know if we have a date for it yet. But yeah, that'll be taught by Aaron, and so we'll let you guys know when the outlining class is. But yeah, that's usually people start outlining in like early to mid October,
Yeah.
and that's around this time. So
Yeah, so I mean, we talked a bit about outlining initially, I think when we spoke with Aaron, but now I have a bit more hands-on experience of what outlining actually is and how it actually goes. Um, so it's funny when we talked with Aaron, like we mentioned outlines are just notes. So like in law school, your outline is basically going to be like in a macro overview of all the things that you've learned so far at whatever point you start outlining, and then by the end of the semester, it's going to be everything you've learned in the semester. But it's quite interesting because, like you start to try and like synthesize this information. Like, I think for me, the way I'm gonna structure my outlines is kind of like I'm thinking specifically like for torts, right? But I think also more generally, but like kind of like I want my outlines to look like almost like flowcharts, not literal flowcharts, but like flowcharts in the sense where it's like, okay, I'll have like a tort like battery, and then within the tort of battery, like I'll have the elements of battery, and then within those elements, like if there are any exceptions, I'll be able to like, you know, reference basically this little like battery section or whatever it is to kind of go like, okay, like here's the fact pattern. Like, did they do this? Did they not do that? Did they do these three things all in together? Okay, then this looks like battery. Like I want to be able to just like go to my outline and reference it like that. And that's kind of how like generally like that's the consensus on how outlines should function. Um yeah. So that's outlines, and I am working on my outlines now and they are so difficult to do. Oh my goodness, it's so difficult to do.
yeah. So what makes it difficult?
What makes it difficult is like there's a lot of it's just like it's a lot of information, and like you want to make sure like you want your outline to be very like concise in the sense of like you want to be able to reference it and just like quickly understand like how you need to approach these legal issues when you're given a fact pattern. So you don't want to like you don't want your outline to basically just be a repeat of exactly what you've had like in all your case briefs and stuff, because then like you can't look at it and like engage with it quickly, you know?
Yeah, you don't want to be
Um
doing analysis when you're looking at your outline, trying to figure out like how to
yeah.
deal with like battery, right? If you just have
Yeah.
all your notes, it's like, ah, fuck, like I gotta figure this out. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's difficult, I think, like, just in the sense of like making sure that like I have the relevant and proper aspects of each rule or whatever it is I'm highlighting within my separate classes to just make sure
Yeah.
that like when I'm given facts, like I can properly apply what the actual rules are. And like again too, like with legal language, like if you change the words, I mean you see this on the LSAT too, but like if you change the word slightly, like it doesn't have the exact same effect, right? So it's like, oh, like battery is, harmful contact. And it's like, well, actually battery is harmful or offensive contact. And this contact wasn't harmful, but you missed that it could be offensive. So now you just completely missed the whole tort because you forgot to include that word, you know?
Legal terms of art. You
Yeah.
can usually make things more concise, but you cannot usually make more concise legal terms of art. Those words
Yeah.
mean things in particular ways,
Yeah.
um, which is something I'm learning too. Um, yeah, no, I think that's really helpful to hear, and I think that part of the problem, like part of the reason that I like missed a bunch of points on my practice problem was I was trying to do it just off the dome, and so like we got it, and our professor like encouraged us to. She was like, "Hey, like try not to use your notes for this because that's gonna like I don't want you spending more than 30 minutes on this problem or like an hour on this problem. So like try not to reread everything you've ever taken notes on for contracts. Just look at the facts, try to remember as much as you can, and just write what you
Mhm.
think is right. And what was really cool about that exercise is, sure, I missed a lot of points, but it's ungraded anyway. And what it made me realize was exactly what you've come to the conclusion of. I need a checklist. I need a flow chart. When I approach a contract fact pattern, I need to have a document next to me that's like, okay, is there consideration? Is this even an
Mhm.
enforceable contract? Could this be a conditional gift? It would are the is any of the are any of the promises illusory? Et
Mhm.
cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right. So like those are the things that I kind of skipped over when I was just kind of off the dome thinking of. So I jumped straight to like, oh, this wasn't written down. So I started talking about formalities, and
Yeah.
I missed like, oh, like could this be illusory? Who would argue, which party would argue illusory? Which party would
Yeah.
argue conditional? Which party would argue no consideration? And so there's a world where if I had the checklist next to me, I would have nailed that. And looking back, looking at the model answer, and then going through my mistakes. Shout out Professor TWR. She's a genius. There's a reason she asked us to do it this way. You learn so much better when you screw stuff up because now
Yeah.
it's like seared into my brain of like never do that again, never let that happen
Yeah.
again. And it goes to show like outlines look like different things, but ultimately they need to be like concise, consolidated, step by step kind of guides to how to deal with certain problems in our certain classes.
Yeah. And I think you mentioned something as well, kind of the point of like doing this legal writing, it's like you have to explain things in a way that you would not consider. Like, Abby, you said like you kind of skipped over like let's just kind of use the example of like without even considering like is there a contract, you're jumping into like what are the issues with the contract. Like no,
Exactly.
you have to start at like is there actually even a contract, right? And like we're just making these assumptions. So we're like okay, like well of course there's a contract because like XYZ, and it's like well you need to like actually prove that and like
Right.
actually find the evidence
Because
before we you can start discussing anything else.
the fact pattern jumps to this is your client, they want to sue for breach of contract. So you're
Yeah.
tempted to go, oh, okay, yeah, breach of contract. Like, yeah, okay, they breached this, this, and this. This was the contract, blah, blah,
Mm-hmm.
blah. It's like, brother, no, you got to slow down. Start at the very
Mm-hmm.
beginning. And there's a bunch of shit that you have to talk about first. So
Yeah.
yeah, and part of it is also the way that we write, which is, interesting and different. Sure, you might be making an argument, but part of your argument has to be considering all sides. So
Right.
half the reason you have to consider some of this stuff is that the other side's going to say it. And so
Right.
you have to go, I know my client is suing for breach of contract. Here's what the employer is going to say. They're going to say there was no contract because of
Yeah.
XYZ. You have to break those down. Then you have to say, but here's why I think there was a contract, XYZ, break those down. So it's
Yeah.
a big checklist guy, I think.
Yeah. And the idea there, I mean, Albie, I think you said this issue spotting is really just to like show that you're comprehending, like, and really thinking critically about the information that you're receiving.
Yeah,
Which is, I mean, what it all ties back to in the end in any case. But yeah, so it's like you really have to be thoughtful about not just like jumping to the conclusion of like how can I make the argument and win the case. It's like what are the arguments of this case and like what are we actually dealing with and talking about and like where do we actually fall in the realm of law. And so like building your outlines, you really want to like, I mean, you'll hear this often as well of like the point of doing the outlines isn't so that you can ultimately have that checklist even though it will be helpful, but it's really to like get the wheels turning for you and to be
Yeah.
like, yeah, here's the things you need to think about. Like, we didn't start with like, is there a breach of contract? We started, is there a contract at
Hmm.
all? Or like, like we're not starting like, how do we sue for battery? Like, what does battery even mean? Like,
Was there even battery here?
was there
Yeah.
even a battery?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
and the professors don't care about the answer, right? You could your right your page of writing can end with, and so therefore and so our client should sue for battery, or and no,
Hmm.
our client should not sue for battery. It doesn't fucking matter. Who cares? Who cares what the end answer is? It's the page of analysis that you've done, breaking down the elements of battery, breaking down whether there even was what are the arguments for battery, what are the arguments against battery. That's what the meat of the analysis is. That's what you get points for, and that's the thinking, that's the legal thinking. Anybody can say yes or no. A lawyer is
Yeah.
going to break down all the points to and for, to again, for and against each side.
Yeah. So that's what we're heading into with
Fun stuff.
midterms.
Fun
Yeah.
stuff. Did you guys have any practice problems before midterm season?
We've done like we've had a lot of hypos. Like I know for
Mm-hmm.
Civ Pro, like our professor even gave us like a whole sheet of hypos to work through.
Nice.
Um, for torts, not so much. Like not so much that I've engaged with. Our professor did give us some practice problems, and I once we finish here, I'm heading straight to the library. I'm taking a practice exam.
I love that.
Yeah, I've got a little study group actually, so I'll be going to work with them through that. And
Huge.
then contracts, our contracts professor gives us like hypos all the time. And we're constantly like working through that stuff. So like we have done like a bit of practice problems, not so much in like in the sense of like, okay, like here's practice, write it out and like let's talk about it once you're done. But yeah, we have kind of been doing it, but this is kind of our first more formal, like just go through this on your own and like let's see what
Yeah.
happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. We have some practice problems in some classes. Actually, that's not true. I have practice problems in all my classes. But some of my professors, so like my torts professor, he is really, really he loves hypos. So he'll be asking somebody, whichever poor soul is on call that day. He'll be going through the facts, and then he'll ask them, like, so what do you think? Like, negligent, not negligent, whatever, right? Duty of care, no duty of care. And whatever the person says, it doesn't matter what they say. He'll
Mhm.
say, but what about if this were like, oh, the age of the person mattered? Well, flip the ages of the plaintiff and the defendant. Does that change your mind?
Yeah.
Right? And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, I definitely see how your exams are gonna look. Right?
Right.
It's gonna be here's the situation, and then we're gonna flip we're gonna flip stuff, and it's fun. It's really when you can not get stressed out. I think
Hmm.
when you can kind of like relinquish the control of the
Yeah.
situation and go, I am at the mercy of whatever my professor's whims are, and that's okay because they know what they're doing. They've been teaching for decades. They're professionals. Um, you just kind of go, okay, cool. Like this person likes hypos. This person really likes this kind of thinking. This person likes this kind of thinking, and we're gonna figure it out. And it's fun. It's just a fun little puzzle every time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like to just kind of like put a bow on this whole midterms thing, like if this is kind of your TLDR moment, if you are like, what do I take away from this? The takeaways are for the most part, your midterm's going to be ungraded, so don't stress about them. Like use them as an opportunity to get feedback, much like with the writing memo. Like this
Yeah,
is just an opportunity for you to see like where you're at, how you're engaging with these concepts, and like where your understanding is at. In terms of preparation, like you might just want to start outlining a little bit, like working through some problem sets a bit, talking with your classmates and seeing where everybody's um, understanding is of the different concepts and where you might be missing. And yeah, go into it like, don't take it personally, just go into it with an open mind, open heart, do your best. And that is what I have to offer you on midterms. And I will come back to you once I've done it and have more information on how it went.
yeah, really excited to hear how it goes. But I'm sure you're gonna crush it, dude. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be great. And clear eyes, full hearts can't lose. So,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a copyrighted phrase or not. I'm sorry. If it is, I don't give a fuck. Educational use. This is free, and I'm not making any money off of this. So, something Creative Commons, or I don't know, MIT educational license. I don't know, whatever.
Not there
Um,
yet, but yeah, yeah.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay. What do you say we move to some listener questions?
I say let's do it.
I say
Segue.
segue. I say segue. I'm all ears. It's ear time. Listener questions, and also write into question1l.com and let me know what you think about ear time. Anyway, we do get listener questions, Amina. So we have a couple of anonymous ones, and then you wanted to follow up. You flagged this one. You want to follow up from Daniel, who wrote in a few episodes ago. But the first one from anonymous: how long did it take before you stopped feeling like you were pretending to be a law student? First of all, anonymous, clocked us. Imposter
Mm,
syndrome. What do you think, Amina?
mm. Pretending to be a law student. So here's the thing. Like, I don't think that I'm pretending to be a law student. Like, I am a law student, just definitionally.
Yeah.
However, am I pretending to be good at it every day,
Every day.
every day,
Yeah.
and haven't stopped feeling like I'm like pretending, like performing my understanding, which is sad because like ultimately, like I don't think I actually am. Like, I feel like I'm kind of on par with how everybody's doing, but like I definitely still feel like I am like, yeah, I totally get it. I'm totally following and everything's great. And like internally, I'm like, it's like red alarms in my brain. Like, but yeah, like I don't think I've stopped yet. What about you?
I think I really liked how you performing your understanding. So, for instance, I perform my understanding every time I log into this podcast and like tell people about how to crush 1L. I'm like, I don't know, dude. Like, we're trying our best.
We
And like
are,
every time
yeah.
I walk into class on Mondays, when I teach crushing 1L at 8 p.m. on Mondays at lsatdemon.com. Shout out lsatdemon. Um, like the people ask me how law school's going. I'm like, I think it's going good, dude. I don't know. The funny thing about performing understanding, I think I'm performing understanding for myself. I don't think, because
Mm,
I actually don't give a shit about like, I love and respect my peers. But like they are my peers. And so I don't really feel a need to like performatively perform my understanding for them or anybody or the professor, because I don't know, they don't give a shit. The professors have been doing this for 20 years. They don't care if you know what's going on or not. I think I'm performing for myself. I think like I wake up
yeah.
every day and I like give myself affirmations like, Hobby, you're trying your best. You did your reading. You try. You kind of know what's. Well, you do. You know what's going on. And that's all that's all you can do is just like take good notes, show up prepared, review your notes after, make sure you understood everything. If you have any questions, ask somebody. And it's just it's very much like just day by day by day. And then every so often, we're 6 weeks in or whatever, and there's certain checks on learning, but I'm kind of performing in the sense that I think everything's fine. I think everything's fine,
Yeah.
and you just show up and try your best every day. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like, I would say too, I'm not performing for other people necessarily, and like, yeah, I mean, like, there's a part of me like I'm very much like I do not want to ask like public questions. Like, I just want if I have a question, like I probably will just keep it in my heart, but also like I may ask afterwards. But like, I think I'm doing better about like being like, wait, what was that? I didn't quite catch that. Like, could you
Yeah,
repeat that? Or like, I don't understand that. Could you explain that again? Um, not great, but doing better at it. And then like when I say that like I'm performing my understanding, I think kind of also like what you're saying. I feel like we're actually having kind of different experiences, but like I feel like
totally
for me,
fair.
like what's happening is like I feel that at times I'm getting like overwhelmed by information, and therefore I'm just like, okay, like I'm just gonna like tell myself I understand this, and like I'll circle back to it later, but like no, I'm not because there's a thousand other things to do later. Um,
Hey,
and I think
sometimes
like
sometimes you're on the jet ski, sometimes you are the jet ski. It's just is what it is. Okay, we just had to cut because my stupid metaphor super derailed us. So yeah, I mean, you were saying,
Sorry. Yeah. So performing understanding, trying to do better by asking more questions, but sometimes feeling like things are just I just don't have even time to really like delve into my understanding and like really work through the things that I'm not understanding in the way that I would like to. But I think that's again like also why I'm glad for midterms because like it's forcing me to stop and like it's uncomfortable because I'm like, ugh, like all the things that I didn't like take care of before like are now coming to like I now have to face them. But like better now when it's mostly ungraded than at final season when it's like now I've had a whole semester's worth of like, you know, things I've been patching up here and there that I haven't really like gotten into
hmm.
and like now it's all slamming me in the face all at once.
It's almost, and so like correct me if I'm wrong, but what I'm getting from that is it's almost more important that you address the cracks in your process than it is
Yeah.
about actually patching up because the information you can patch up. Like you're going to get the midterm back, it's
Hmm.
going to be marked up, and you're going to go, "Oh, okay, cool. I thought this concept was saying this, it's saying this. Too easy." But what it's actually going to ask you to do is reckon with, "Okay, what did I maybe gloss over or what did I like miss align in my
Yeah.
process that led me astray, and then you can fix that stuff
Yeah.
early so that, like you said, we have so. I was looking at my syllabus, dude. We're like we're like a page into a 4-page syllabus, and I was like, whoa, this is a lot of stuff. We have a lot of stuff to cover, and so
Yeah, there's
imagine getting
so
to
much
the
more.
yeah, imagine getting to the end and being like, fuck, my process was stupid, like was bad, right? So
Right.
yeah, I think it's is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, kind of like yeah, it's just like it's good for me now to have this break where I have to like it's kind of like a moment of reckoning almost, I guess, where it's like, hey, like this is what's going on with you. Like if you don't get this under control, like it's you will no longer be crushing 1L. You will be crushed by 1L. So
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I
yeah.
can't obviously for my brand, I can't have that. So better to know
It's
now.
truly, it's like our jobs rely on us crushing one up, which is so
It-
tough.
That's really scary and
Not to
tough,
put
but
pressure on
hey,
you, not to put
hey.
pressure on you,
Well,
but
I mean, you need balance. So if one of us crushes 1L, I think the other one can get crushed by it, and
yeah, to give
like
both like
perspectives.
perspectives and stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah, I also
I
think
call dibs
like
on being crushed by it.
that's so fair. That's so fair. I also think that like the way that the curve works, like we're gonna be fine.
Yeah,
Like I, we should, we are a bit. I wouldn't even say stressed because I don't want to put that on us, but like we are feeling some pressure because we care and because we want to do well
yes,
and we want to do our
yeah,
best. And that's really all it is. Our schools are taking care of us. And I think that's really important. Like our professors
mm,
are there to help, our peers are there to help, study groups and stuff. The jobs will come. Like employment is not a question because we're at very, very good law schools and they take care of us in that way. And this is just like we want to do well. We want to do our best.
yeah,
So that's good. I think a healthy amount of caring is good. I would be worried if either of us were like laissez-faire, like I don't give a shit. Who cares? I don't even go to class. They don't take attendance. So
woo.
that would be crazy.
No,
That would be like
don't do
wild
that.
energy. Yeah, that would
Don't
be
do
wild
that.
energy for 1L. And I also think like that's also just like that's the wrong mindset, right? We're this year at least after the first year, most people have enough knowledge to like actually go do law stuff, right?
Yeah.
So this is the
Well,
year that matters. Well, obviously, huge asterisk, like no, but by the end of your first year, you've taken the 6 or 7 like classes that you need to take
yeah,
to be a real lawyer, kind of.
yeah,
Uh,
sort of.
so
Yeah,
so this is the year that matters, and we gotta just get our butt in our seat and just kind of work through it. So I don't even
and
remember.
that's what we're doing.
Yeah,
How long does it take you to feel like you stop pretending? Like
I don't
that's
think
kind
I'm
of like
pretending. Yeah, I
long
guess.
form answer. I mean, I yeah, I do feel like I'm pretending, but like just because I have that in me. But
No,
I'm
no,
not. Like
that's
I'm
so
really
fair.
genuinely doing my best. I'm genuinely doing my best. It
Of
just
course,
feels like
of course.
pretending because that's how we roll.
There
But
was a there was
nonetheless.
this there was a speaker that came to talk to us during orientation about a month ago now
Mhm.
at this point, and he was like a wellness. He was like from a wellness organization that it's like lawyers caring about lawyers and stuff. And so he was like, "Hey, law students are you guys are future attorneys, so you fall under our umbrella." And they that their organization was like imposter syndrome is the most frequent like self issue thing reported. Like it's the highest,
Self-identified
it's
issue.
the most frequent. Yeah, self-identified. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what. Thank you.
Hmm.
It's the most frequently reported self-identified issue amongst legal professionals, and this ranges from brand new junior attorneys to senior partners at like national and international law firms. Is imposter syndrome. So this is a real thing that like plagues
Yeah.
our profession. So it's a process. It's a process. It is a
Yeah.
process.
Yeah. So there's the answer to that one.
There's the answer. Is that kind of,
It's a process.
kind of pretending, kind of not. How long did it take? I don't know. We'll let you know. And it's a process. And some people are senior partners at giant law firms and still feel a little bit pretendy. So
Yeah.
thanks, anonymous.
Happens to the best of us. Yeah. Thank you.
Happens to the best of us. What do you want to do the second one?
Sure. Also, a question from Anonymous. It says, everyone says Wendell is the hardest year of your life. Is that actually true or just law school folklore? Um, mm, well, I guess it kind of depends on the life you've been living. I don't think like this is the hardest thing you can do in life. And in that vein, like I don't think it's the hardest year of your life if you've been doing hard things in life. For me, it's definitely been one of the most challenging experiences I've had thus far, just in terms of like the amount of things that are going on simultaneously all the time is like, whoa. But what about you, Abby?
Yeah, no, this is I think you hit the nail on the head. I think the answer to this question is people come to law school from a wide variety of walks of life, and people have lived much harder lives than others, but that doesn't mean that this isn't hard for anybody.
Yeah.
I think law school is challenging for everyone. I think it's a bit of folklore that like it's the hardest year of your life. Um, I think that most people have done things that are challenging, especially folks that like have worked hard enough to get into like these fancy law schools. Like,
Hmm.
Amina, you're an accomplished person, so like I'm confident that you have done hard things in your life. And yeah, like I go to school with people that have worked for years and years and years, and have like sold companies and have served in the military, like I have, or like worked in consulting or finance or in the life sciences and stuff. Like they've done hard stuff. We've all done hard stuff to get here, to get
Yeah.
where we are. The school
Yeah.
wouldn't have let you in if they didn't think you could handle hard stuff. But yeah, like my hot take is that it's not the hardest year of your life. It's certainly challenging. It's one of the busiest years I've had in a while.
I would say that.
It's one of the busiest years.
Busiest.
Yes, it's a
Yes.
busy
Yeah.
year for sure. It's probably one of the busiest years I've had in the last 3 or 4 years of working. Is it hard just because it's busy? I don't think so. I think busyness is challenging,
Yeah.
um, but it's also very doable, as most things end up
Yeah.
being. So
I
yeah,
mean, yeah, again, like for me, like it's definitely I can't say enough. I feel like my constant refrain is like time management, but like it's like that is really like clearly something I struggle with a lot. And so for me, like being busy is hard because it's like I just like it's like everything is happening all at once and it's very difficult for me to like get a hold of things.
yeah,
Um but at the same time, like I'm learning prioritization. I'm learning, ways to deal with how like deal with this busyness. And like I know like especially going to the legal profession, like it's not gonna like slow down and be unbusy.
no,
So
no, and that's what like I think we like being busy. I think that people in law school generally do like being busy.
yeah,
Um, that's just kind of the kind of person it draws.
yeah,
Um, and it's busy for a variety of reasons, right? Like, sure, class and classwork are like a lot of it, but there's also like every lunch event, right? That's kind of the joke we told at the top of the podcast. Like, there's a freaking lunch conference or some kind of lunch talk almost every day. And so, whatever hour you thought you had to kind of chill and decompress, like, sure, you're getting free lunch, but you're also like at an
you're
event.
in a
So,
lecture. You're in a
yeah.
lecture.
So maybe there is no free lunch, right? That's the kind of the joke.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
That's the
you're
joke.
right.
But yeah, or like your afternoon, right? You might have had an empty block in the afternoon. You thought, oh, okay, I'm gonna go to the library and study, and then I don't know, like you have to go get coffee with a professor or something, and it's like those are
Yeah,
lovely things to do, or like go get coffee with a classmate, or go get coffee with a 2L or a 3L to talk about various things. And those are
yeah.
lovely and those are essential experiences. And
Hmm.
your day only still has 24 hours in it. And so you might get home later than you thought
Oh my gosh,
and
I'll be
and
like, this is it.
more
This
tired
is
than you
exactly
thought.
it.
Yeah, and then you go,
It's it.
damn, I still got to do all my reading.
This is 100% like this is literally how my days are going, right? Where it's like, okay, I'm in class, I'm doing readings after like whatever, but it's like I like the essential struggle I'm experiencing is that I need the socialization. I need the break from
Yeah, you do.
school,
You
but
need
like
it.
there's just no, it doesn't it's like kind of a falsehood. Like it doesn't actually really exist because it's like even when I'm talking, I mean a little bit when I'm talking to my friends, like okay, like there's a little bit of a reprieve, but even that it's like there's no like decompression. There's so little time for just like me where I'm like I'm in this moment like and I'm not doing
Yeah.
law school and I'm not doing anything except for like just like existing, breathing in and out. Like that happens almost never. Almost never. Even last night I like had to stay up to like book a library conference room for this study session I'm doing. Do you know what I was doing in the hour between then? Like I was like, okay, well I could like maybe just like, relax or whatever. I'm like, nah, let me do some ask questions since I have this free hour. So yeah.
Yeah. And that's I think like very relatable I think to a lot of law students and future law students. We tend to be those kinds of people. We
Yeah.
tend to be the kinds of people who if we have a free hour in our day, it's not free anymore because we just booked it, right? Like
Right.
free time does not have a purpose for us, so we fill it with things. Even social interactions end up taking on a purpose. It's like
Literally,
purposefully social,
yes.
right? It's like I am
Yes.
intentionally and purposefully getting coffee with my friend, and it's like, well, dude, I mean, if you make it that intense, then that's it's not gonna. It's like you're gonna be tired.
I'm right now, like I've had so many intentional, like I'm responding to this text message now.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
now I'm giving you the update on my life right now
yeah.
because I won't have time to do it after this.
Well, it's hard.
Literally,
It's hard
yeah.
because like we're giving full intensity on things that matter, and it's like, how do you notch that back? I don't know how to. I don't know how to turn the dial down. So if I shift my attention to a personal matter, all of a
Yeah.
sudden I'm approaching that personal matter with the full level of intensity that I was approaching, whatever other matter.
Yeah, because like it's you have now taken even an hour. It's like there's no free hour. Like if I'm giving an hour to something, like it has to matter. Like I can't just
Yeah,
like do the I don't have an hour to just give away.
yeah,
Like
yeah. It's
yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
fire hose. It's fire hose, and it's just what you're pointing the fire hose at, and whatever you point it at is gonna get full fire hose. There's just like there's no like
Yeah.
half fire hose. So yeah, I don't know. I think that's actually what's really cool about the people I've met at law school is that
Hmm.
a lot of us are like that, and it's really cool to be surrounded by people who are so passionate and so competent and so intentional with their time. Um, and so yeah, I don't know. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. I think it's cool. I think that's what's cool about being an attorney or a future attorney. If that doesn't sound cool, I have really bad news for folks who are like that doesn't sound cool. Now I'm sure that there's a lot of legal professionals who are like, dude, you guys are crazy. I'm actually very chill, and I
Yeah.
deal with my energy very in a healthy way.
Nice.
More power to you. More power to you. Um, but yeah, did we answer the
Yeah.
question? I think we did.
We did. Yeah. Is it the hardest year of your life? Depends on what you've been doing in life, but also like it is a very, very busy year. And
Busy.
if that's hard for you, like it will be a hard year.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. But honestly, like you're gonna get through it, and so I don't think it's gonna be the hardest year. Hopefully it's not the hardest year. I think that you have probably done hard things to get here, and you're probably gonna do a lot harder things in your life. So
Yeah. Okay. And then lastly, this question from Daniel. So Daniel asked us back at the beginning of the summer if, as a 0L, he should be watching supplemental videos like ones found on resources like Quimby or Studicata or Barbary. There's a couple supplement websites on things that he would be expected to cover in 1L. So here is my updated opinion on this, and then I'll pass it to you, Abby. But again, like I think I said this before, as a 0L, no, you don't need to watch those supplemental videos because you're going to cover the cases. I think as a 0, honest to goodness, I know we work for you, LSAT team, and I know crushing 1L is our thing, but I really also just genuinely think it's a good product. Nonetheless, as a 1L, um, I mean, like I hear a lot of good things about Quimby and Barbary, as like supplements for understanding cases, and I think, from what I've been hearing and like from how I understand it, like it kind of functions in the same way that I think Crushing 1L functions in advance of law school, where it's like it just kind of takes these things that you're learning and puts them in plain English, and just makes them like more approachable.
yeah,
So I think before I may have been a little like, "You don't really need them," and I'm still like I still feel that way, like, you don't need them, but, I'm not against them. I don't think I was before either, but I'm certainly not against them now, and I think, like, they could definitely be advantageous to you, as an addition to how you're, intaking cases. So that's my update on that.
I think that's good advice. I don't have a ton to add. I personally don't use study aids. I find that I can just flip through the case. It's just I just demon read, right? Like I kind of just read for understanding, and then I jot down whatever I got from it into my case briefs. Occasionally I will pull up like Lexis or Westlaw's case brief
Mhm.
feature. Um, I like using them because they have the case,
Yeah,
and then they consolidate and make it more concise for their case briefs rather than I guess my worry for like something like a third party study aid is like, is this actually the takeaway? Um, the other thing I'll caution people, the takeaway from the study aid may or may not be the takeaway that your professor is emphasizing. So I do think it's helpful to kind of just read the case on your own
definitely. Yeah.
and then take your notes and then use the study aid to check if you read the case right, and then go in with empty margins on your notes and be able to fill in the stuff that the professor ends up saying about it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, study aids, yeah, helpful to some people, helpful, not as helpful to others. It's kind of just you got to figure it out.
Yeah, still not I still don't think as a 0L you need it, but like in your 1L year, like you might like want to like I would say like just don't feel like you can't or shouldn't. Like I think that they can be useful when applied properly.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also, I would like, if you're doing Quimby stuff or like you're doing study aids, you're reading study aids like as a 0L, don't be afraid to also just read the case yourself. You can just go read the case. And I would even ask, like, did you come to the same takeaway as the Quimby? That might be a good check, right? Um, I don't know. Maybe that's bad advice.
I'm saying no because I just feel like you're gonna start stressing yourself and like you're gonna again like you're gonna as a 0, I think getting into like reading cases and stuff like you're gonna build habits that may not serve you.
True. True.
So I don't think you should really like jump into that. Like
Yeah,
when you get into law school, like you're gonna get like the rundown on how it's supposed to work or how your law school wants it to work in order for
that's
their
true.
curriculum to function. So I don't think you should do that as a 0L. But hey, you know what? To
Hey,
each their
or
own.
if you are looking for some guidance, you're not going in blind and building bad habits. You could go watch the recording of Erin's case briefing class. She gave a workshop a couple weeks ago on case briefing, so you don't have to go in blind. She graduated as a valedictorian at her law school, and so she knows how to case brief, probably better than me in a minute do. So go listen to Erin's advice. That's on the LSAT Demon website. Anybody with a paid Demon account can go see that video. So and yeah, keep abreast of any more stuff coming up from Erin and her workshops. We mentioned outlining that might be coming up soon, so we'll keep you guys updated. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think we answered Daniel's question. What do you think?
Yeah. And yes, please, any other questions you have, like
Please
send
write
us an
in.
email.
Please write
Crushing1l
in.
com. That is crushing the
Crushing1l.com.
number one L.com.
Crushing the number one L.
Yeah.
The real crushing one L is the one L's we crushed along the way. Anyway, um, yeah, write in, folks. Write in. We love your questions. Thanks for sharing. All right, Amina. Next topic: current event segment. Segue. What's on the docket for current events? What's going on in the world?
So, what's on the docket today? I found this article on Reuters, by Karen
Reuters.
Sloan. Reuters. Okay, excuse me. Sorry, can't speak English. That's on me.
It's a
But
name, and that's just how it's pronounced. And I didn't know how to pronounce it until somebody told me.
well, hey, I guess I'm learning. But so today's article is Utah joins states letting law grads skip bar exams from for hands-on experience. And again, this is by Karen Sloan. This was published October 1st. Yeah, I mean, it kind of is all there in the title. We talked a bit recently about Arizona also not quite the same, but like Arizona kind of changing their law school curriculum so that you can go through and get, I believe it was a master's in legal studies to specifically practice criminal law.
Right.
And now we're seeing other states kind of like also changing their approach to how people can enter the legal profession. Um, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like graduates of ABA accredited law schools can get law licenses after completing 240 hours of practice under the
Hmm.
supervision of an experienced attorney. So, if you went to an ABA accredited law school in Utah and you graduated and you complete 240 hours of practice under a supervising attorney, and there's other requirements that they don't mention here, then you can opt out of the bar exam. You could also still opt in to the bar exam. So they kind of leave it up to you. Um, what are the pros and cons? What do you think?
Hmm. I mean, it's interesting. I think the bar exam is kind of it serves as like a unifier in terms of like here's our standard for what we want expect to see from practicing attorneys. Um, I'm not against introducing new standards. I just like I'm curious to see always I think this is always my takeaway, but curious to see how this plays out. It looks like Utah's been thinking about this since 2020 and like have now recently come to the conclusion that it's like not the only or the best way to approach doing law school. I mean, sorry, doing law certification. I'm just like, okay.
I'm just like, who's this for, right? Like, I think there's
Yeah.
something to be said for with the Arizona thing. it circumvents going to an ABA accredited law school, which is the most
Yeah.
expensive part of the certification process. So
Right.
here, the article's like the article is talking about reducing the financial and logistical burdens of bar exam prep, which, in the grand scheme of things, if your law school education to go to an ABA accredited law school costs hundreds of thousands of dollars, and your
Hmm.
bar prep costs a couple $1,000s, which is not that's not an insignificant, that's a chunk of change. Like, don't get me wrong, but like, what are we? What are we? Which lever are we pulling on here? Which one of these is going to be the bigger deal? I guess I'm kind of confused about who or why this is going to help.
Yeah. And I mean, like, you still have to, like you said, you still have to go to law school. While you're in law school, you still have to take a series of courses that, I guess, like, qualify you for this particular method of
Yeah.
getting certified. And you still have to pass an exam. It says here it's similar to the multi-state performance test that is part of the current national bar exam. So it's like
So you have to pass a baby. It's like a baby bar almost.
you're still kind of doing the work. So
So what is this? What is the point of this? Right? Like, I don't know. I'm confused. And also, like, you're saving a couple grand of bar prep to then be an apprentice attorney, and you're probably going to take a pay cut as an apprentice attorney. And I
hmm,
wonder how big the pay cut is, right? Like, how much less would you pay if you were an experienced attorney with 20 years of experience? How much less would you pay a an apprentice
yeah.
versus a barred attorney? I think the answer is probably the number is more than $2,000 different. So
Hmm.
you're taking a bigger pay cut potentially to save 2 grand to not take the bar, but you have to take the baby bar anyway. You have to take the
And
multi-state
you still have to
performance
do
test,
like there's still work to do.
and you still have to be a lawyer. You still have to go be a lawyer, and you're just like taking a
Yeah.
pretty significant pay cut to go be an attorney, an apprentice attorney. You still have to pass this other test. You save 2 grand on bar prep. Like, congrats, I guess. I don't. You spent You spent $250,000 on your law school education. Like, I have bad news for you, right? Like, things are not looking good for your bank account still. I don't know. What do you? I'm just having trouble wrapping my head around like who this is for. I suppose.
Yeah, again, I'm not entirely certain, and I'm curious to see like how like what the difference is in terms of like the quality of attorneys that is produced by each of these methods. Because again, like I'm not like anti introducing new standards. Like I think it's great to innovate and like address things that might not be working as efficiently as they could be. I'm just
Yeah.
not certain that this is like just on its face. It doesn't seem to me like this is maybe like the most efficient solution. But I suppose we'll see.
We will see. And I think realistically, what's likely to happen here is they're introducing it only for ABA accredited graduates to
Hmm.
like minimize risk. They're going to
Yeah.
see how those people do. And then they're going to open this up to, okay, well, it worked with ABA accredited grads. Let's see if it works with not ABA accredited grads. And so then
Yeah.
they might open up licensure for non ABA accredited law schools in Utah, who are then eligible to sit for this. And then they might open it up to anybody who's an apprentice and passes the multi-state performance test can become an attorney, and you don't even have to go to law school. Or you could go like you could a tangential or closely related undergraduate degree might qualify you. So I think maybe they're starting narrowly to minimize risk, and then they're going to expand the program to include more and more people.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see. I guess.
Time will tell. Time will
Time
certainly tell.
indeed will tell. If you guys have any interesting articles or current events that you guys want us to talk about, you know where to drop us a line, dude. Crushing1l.com, crushing the number one L.com.
Okay, so moving on, we are going to now do the legal word of the week.
Yes,
We're
so I
gonna
was
wow
very
you
proud of
with
myself. Yeah, Luau. I was really proud of myself for like remembering to send this to you. I was in the middle of class, and our professor said this phrase. They said "sua sponte," and I thought to myself, "Wow, I think I know what that means." But I think this
hmm.
would be a good luau for the pod, and so I shot a message, and now here we are talking about sua sponte. Should I tell you what I think it means, and then you can read the official definition?
Absolutely.
Okay, so hey, demon reading, right? Like, you use context clues. In the context of the conversation we were having in class, sua sponte meant to me like of the court's own volition, or like
Hmm.
spontaneously is in there, obviously, like sponte. Come on. So yeah, to me, I thought it meant the court on its own, like of its own accord, or on its own action or something.
Okay. So this is coming. I think we'll be relying on this a lot as we continue into this LOWOW segment, legal wow, whatever, the legal word of the week segment. But this is going to come from the Cornell Law School Legal Information Institute. And the definition given for sua sponte is that it is Latin for of one's own accord. Sua sponte is used to indicate that a court has taken notice of an issue on its own motion without prompting or suggestion from either party. So yeah, great job using context clues. You nailed it. That's exactly where it is and what it means.
Huge. It helps that it sounds like what it means.
Yeah.
Suspante, like I don't know.
Whoa.
That's
Sorry. Sorry.
that was a Latin that wasn't anti-Italian. That was my Latin, you know.
Guys, yeah. Okay, don't cancel us for that. I
Don't
didn't I
cancel
didn't co
us.
I didn't co-sign that.
Latin is a
Um
beautiful language.
but yeah,
Suspante. Okay.
and he did it again. Okay.
Okay.
uh,
Before I get us canceled, that was Lowell, folks. That was the legal word of the week. Our next little mini segment. This one's gonna be quick, Amina, but our crushing 1L plug for this episode. We have classes. We added live classes to Crushing 1L. We're so excited. And in fact, Demon Team members, we've been attending some of them. Whenever we're free to. So for instance, yeah, Aaron's workshop on case briefing was awesome. Francesca recently started teaching a series of classes on constitutional law. It's called Con Law Pros. Con Law Core. I'm crazy. Con Law Core. And that was this last weekend. So that's going to be every Tuesday. Check that out, folks. We'll include links in the description. And also, Sam is starting his class called Civ Pro Pros or Civ Pros. I think it's Civ Pros. Man, I just butchered all the titles of the classes. It doesn't matter. Go check them out, lsatdemon.com. Any paid account can access any Crushing 1L class. Folks, these are 3Ls and attorneys. These are real law people. It's not me and Amina teaching, I promise. Not that we would be bad, but I mean, we kind of don't know anything. So, these are people that know what they're talking about. It's really cool. If you're interested, if you use it as a study break while you're doing your LSAT study, if you have a free 30 minutes or an hour and you just want to pop in and do something not LSAT related, this is a really cool way to engage your brain. I think our goal is to just sprinkle in some legal stuff into your brain so that when you do get to law school a year from now, it's like activating those neurons. I don't know. That's what I've been saying.
oh,
And
brother.
that's been a contentious phrase, neural activation. Sorry for believing in science. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, no, check out those classes. I think it's really cool. Like again, like this is the stuff you're doing in law school. This is what we're doing. We're learning how to be Civ pros. I'm not doing con law. I don't know about you.
Con
I'm
law
not
for
doing
me
con
next
law yet.
semester, but I
Yeah,
plan on
next
catching the
semester.
recording of Francesca's class and getting some preview. I'm gonna use it for the thing for neural activation. I really am. I'm gonna
Yeah.
try to get some preview in my brain watching her talk about con law because she's a beast. And then next semester I'm gonna be like, whoa, Francesca already taught me some of this stuff. And then yeah, Sam's class, great review because we're both in Civ Pro
Mhm.
this semester. And yeah, Civ Pros and Con La Core. Check them out.
Yeah, I just again like I think it's so cool to be that you guys that we are offering this. And I think that people should take advantage of it, like get insight, especially like again, like if you want to go to law school, like this is the stuff we're doing. Like see if you actually like it. I mean, this is not all that it is. There's so much more to it, but like this is the curriculum aspect of it. See, so like check it out, see what it's about, enjoy it.
A student came to my like crushing 1L intro to law school class,
Hmm.
where we just cover, and folks, that's on Mondays at 8 p.m. Any paid demon account can go to that class too. We cover law school basics, intro to courts, intro to cases, so just kind of like foundational civics stuff. A student in that class was like, if of course, like we are pre-law students, like this stuff is fun. It's
Yeah,
fun. Like
it's
if
fun.
if you go to a class like that and you're like bummed out and you're not having a good time, like maybe like maybe that's a sign. I don't know. Like
Yeah,
I
I
don't want to
think
discourage
about it.
anybody, but yeah,
Think
like
about
that's
it.
like reflect on that maybe. I don't
Yeah.
know.
But yeah, that's it on that. And I think that's it for us this week.
I don't have anything else. I think we let the folks go. We're trying to keep the timing a little tighter. So that's it for this episode of Crushing 1L. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, or share it with someone thinking about law school. If you have a question, please write into the pod at podcast@crushing1l.com, or you can just go to crushing1l.com. That is the number one, crushing1l.com. I'm Abby, that's Amina. Until next time, keep crushing it.